Maya didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table, laptop open, researching everything she could find about Daniel Ryu. The results were frustratingly sparse. A few society page mentions, charity galas, high-end restaurant openings, always photographed with different stunning women on his arm. Some business articles about D. Ryu Enterprises, described vaguely as international imports and investments. Nothing concrete, nothing incriminating. Which, she realized with growing dread, was exactly what you'd expect from someone who was actually dangerous. At 6 a.m., she called the number on the business card. A crisp female voice answered immediately. "Choi and Associates, how may I direct your call?" Daniel Ryu gave me this number. He said to call about a contract." There was no surprise in the woman's voice. "Ms. Richardson, Mr. Choi is expecting your call. Please hold." The fact that they already knew her name made Maya's stomach turn. A male voice came on the line, smooth and professional. "Ms. Richardson, I'm James Choi. I understand you and Mr. Ryu need to formalize an arrangement. I have office hours beginning at 9, but for Mr. Ryu's associates, I can meet earlier. Would 7:30 work for you?" Yes, but I haven't agreed to anything yet." "Of course. The meeting is simply to discuss terms and ensure your interests are protected. Mr. Ryu was very clear that you should have independent legal representation as well, if you wish. I can provide referrals." That surprised her. He said that. "Mr. Ryu is many things, Ms. Richardson, but he's not a man who takes advantage of innocent parties. Quite the opposite. I'll text you the address. Coffee will be ready." The line went dead. James Choi's office was nothing like Maya expected. Instead of some intimidating corporate tower, it was a tastefully renovated brownstone in the West Village. The receptionist, the same woman from the phone, greeted her warmly and led her to a comfortable meeting room with morning light streaming through tall windows. Mr. Choi himself was in his 50s, distinguished, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He poured her coffee from a French press and slid a document across the mahogany table. "Before we begin, Ms. Richardson, I want you to understand something. I've been Mr. Ryu's attorney for 15 years. In that time, I've seen him conduct business that would make most people uncomfortable. But I've never, not once, seen him hurt someone who didn't deserve it. He operates in gray areas, yes, but he has a code. That's supposed to make me feel better." Mr. Choi smiled. "No, it's supposed to give you context. Now shall we review the terms?" The contract was surprisingly straightforward. Maya would appear as Daniel's companion at social events for a period of 4 weeks. She would stay at his penthouse for the duration, in a separate bedroom, the contract specified. She would be compensated $50,000 for her time and any professional disruptions. Daniel would provide security, covering all her expenses, and ensure no harm came to her from his business associates or rivals. Most importantly, there was a clause that stated, "Party A, Daniel Ryu, will not initiate physical or romantic contact without explicit consent from Party B, Maya Richardson. This arrangement is for security purposes only, unless both parties mutually agree otherwise in writing." "He's paying me $50,000 to pretend to date him for a month," Maya said, incredulous. "He's compensating you for the danger his world represents, the disruption to your life, and frankly, for his own peace of mind. Mr. Ryu doesn't like loose ends, and he doesn't like innocent people getting hurt because of him." Maya read through the contract 3 times. "What happens after 4 weeks?" "You return to your life. Mr. Ryu will ensure that his associates understand the relationship has ended naturally. You'll have a security detail watching your apartment discreetly for an additional 3 months, just to be safe. After that, you'll likely never hear from him again." "Unless I want to." Mr. Choi's expression became carefully neutral. "That would be between you and Mr. Ryu. This contract covers only the professional arrangement." Maya picked up the pen, her hand hovering over the signature line. Every rational part of her brain screamed that this was insane. But the alternative, waiting for this Kang person to decide she was a threat, seemed worse. She signed. Excellent, Mr. Choi said, witnessing her signature. Mr. Ryu will collect you this evening at 7. Pack for a month. Formal wear will be provided, but bring personal items that make you comfortable. And Ms. Richardson, despite how this began, try to enjoy yourself. Daniel Ryu's world may be dangerous, but it's never boring. Maya called in sick to work, something she never did. Then she spent the day in a daze, packing a suitcase while trying to figure out how to explain this to Derek. In the end, she didn't. She sent him a text. "We need to talk when you get back. I think we need some space." It was cowardly, but she couldn't explain the truth. And honestly, Derek's distant response, "Okay, if that's what you need," confirmed what she'd been feeling for months. They were already over. Neither of them had wanted to admit it. At exactly 7 p.m., her buzzer rang. This time, Daniel wasn't alone. A woman stood beside him, late 20s, beautiful, with sharp eyes that cataloged everything about Maya in 3 seconds. "Maya Richardson, this is Yuna. She'll be your personal assistant and security during your stay." Yuna bowed slightly. "Ms. Richardson, I'll help you get settled and coordinate your schedule. If you need anything at all, you come to me first." "I don't need an assistant," Maya said. "You do now," Daniel replied smoothly. "Yuna is former Korean National Police. She's also a black belt in Taekwondo and an excellent judge of character. She'll keep you safe and help you navigate my world." Yuna smiled, and it was genuinely warm. "He makes it sound more dramatic than it is. Mostly I'll help you get dressed for boring events and make sure you don't accidentally insult any dangerous people." Despite herself, Maya laughed. "How often does that happen?" "More than you'd think. Rich criminals have very fragile egos." Daniel picked up Maya's suitcase like it weighed nothing. "Shall we?" The penthouse was not what Maya expected. She'd imagined something cold and modern, all glass and steel and expensive art. Instead, Daniel's home was warm, hardwood floors, comfortable furniture, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves filled with actual books in multiple languages. The wall of windows overlooking Central Park was stunning, but the space itself felt lived in, personal. "Your room is through here," Daniel said, leading her down a hallway. He opened a door to reveal a spacious bedroom with its own bathroom, a king-size bed with soft-looking linens and another wall of windows. "Yuna's room is next door. Mine is on the other side of the penthouse. You'll have complete privacy." Maya set her purse down on the bed. "This is really happening." "Are you having second thoughts?" She turned to face him. In the soft evening light, he looked less intimidating, still dangerous, still devastating, but somehow more human. "I don't know what I'm having. This morning I was worried about a client presentation. Now I'm moving into a penthouse with a man I don't know who may or may not be a crime lord." "I prefer businessman with unconventional methods," Daniel said with a slight smile. "And you'll get to know me. That's part of the arrangement. We need to be convincing as a couple, which means being comfortable with each other." "How do you suggest we do that?" He checked his watch. "Have you eaten?" "Not since breakfast." "Then we'll have dinner. Yuna will help you unpack. Meet me in the main room in 30 minutes. No formal dress tonight, just us talking. Consider it our first date." "Fake first date," Maya corrected. Daniel's smile widened slightly. "Of course, fake." But the way he looked at her, before leaving, suggested there was nothing fake about his interest. 30 minutes later, Maya emerged from her room in jeans and a soft sweater to find the dining table set for two. Daniel had changed into dark slacks and a charcoal sweater that made him look less like a mobster and more like a dangerously handsome professor. The food was Korean, beautifully arranged dishes that made her mouth water. "I didn't cook," Daniel admitted, pulling out her chair. "I have a chef who prepares meals and leaves them. I'm many things, but a cook isn't one of them." Maya sat, acutely aware of how close he was. "What are the many things you are?" He settled across from her, pouring them both wine. "Direct, I like that. Let's see, I'm a businessman, as I said. I facilitate transactions between parties who can't work together openly. Sometimes that involves goods that are regulated. Sometimes it involves information. Sometimes it involves convincing people that certain courses of action are in their best interest. You're describing crime very eloquently. I'm describing reality. The world isn't black and white, Maya. It's 1,000 shades of gray, and I operate in the darker ones. But I have rules. No drugs, no human trafficking, no children involved in anything ever, no unnecessary violence. What counts as necessary violence? Daniel took a sip of wine, his eyes never leaving hers. Protection, defense, occasionally making an example of someone who's broken the rules so badly that mercy would be seen as weakness. But I don't enjoy it if that's what you're asking. I'm not a monster. Just a criminal. Just a man who saw the world for what it really is and decided to profit from it rather than pretend it's something else. Maya picked at her food, trying to process this calm confession. Why are you telling me all this? Isn't it dangerous for you? You're already in this, Maya. You signed the contract. You're living in my home. Lying to you now would be pointless and disrespectful. Besides, he leaned back in his chair, studying her. I find I want you to know who I really am, not the version I show at charity galas. The real version. Why? Because you're the first person in years who stumbled into my life by complete accident. Everyone else wants something from me: power, money, protection, connections. You just wanted to send your boyfriend a sexy photo. There's something refreshingly honest about that. Maya felt her cheeks heat. Can we please never mention that photo again? Why? You have nothing to be embarrassed about. You're stunning, Maya. Your boyfriend was a lucky man, though clearly not smart enough to keep you happy, given how quickly you ended things with him. How did you? I pay attention. You've been checking your phone all evening, but you haven't texted anyone. No worried boyfriend demanding to know where you are, which means you cut him loose. Daniel's expression became intense. Good. Good. This arrangement works better if you're unattached, and frankly, he paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. I don't share well. The possessiveness in his voice sent a shiver down Maya's spine that she absolutely did not want to analyze. This is fake, she reminded him. You said so yourself. I said the arrangement is professional, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy each other's company. That doesn't mean I can't appreciate having a beautiful, intelligent woman in my home. And it doesn't mean you can't admit that you find this exciting. I don't. Maya, he said her name like a caress. You're a terrible liar. I saw the way you looked at me when you opened your door. You were frightened, yes, but you were also intrigued, drawn in. The same way I was drawn to that photo, the same way I'm drawn to you now. Maya's heart hammered in her chest. You're very confident. I'm very observant. There's a difference. He stood, coming around the table to stand beside her chair. He didn't touch her, but his presence was overwhelming. I'm going to be honest with you, Maya, because I think you deserve honesty. That photo was a mistake, yes. And the security concern is real, yes. But I could have handled it a dozen other ways. I chose this one because from the moment I saw you in that image, I wanted to know you. And now that you're here, now that I've talked to you, seen the way your mind works, the way you challenge me instead of just agreeing. He leaned down, his lips close to her ear. Now I want to know everything. Maya couldn't breathe. The contract says I won't initiate without consent. It says nothing about wanting, about hopping, about waiting to see if you'll want it too. He straightened, stepping back. Finish your dinner, Maya. Tomorrow we start your introduction to my world. Tonight you're safe, you're protected, and you're in control of whatever happens between us. He walked away, leaving her at the table with her racing heart and the terrifying realization that she was already in far more danger than any contract could protect her from. Because she was starting to want him too. Part 7, the first event. The next 3 days were a whirlwind. Yuna became Maya's constant companion, teaching her the subtle rules of Daniel's world. How to greet certain people, which topics to avoid, how to read the room at events where everyone smiled but trust was non-existent. The key, Yuna explained while helping Maya into a stunning black evening gown, is to look like you belong but remember you don't. Be friendly but not familiar. Let Daniel lead, but don't act like a possession. These people respect power, and a woman who can hold her own commands respect. No pressure, Maya muttered, staring at herself in the mirror. The dress was elegant, expensive, and made her look like someone else entirely. Someone who belonged in Daniel Ryu's dangerous, glittering world. You'll be fine, Yuna said, adjusting Maya's hair. And if anyone makes you uncomfortable, step on their foot and I'll appear within seconds. We have signals. Signals? You'll learn them. For now, just stay close to Daniel. He's very good at protecting what's his. I'm not his, Maya said automatically. Yuna just smiled knowingly and handed her a clutch purse. The event was at the Manhattan penthouse of a man Yuna had described as a real estate developer who definitely doesn't launder money through his properties. The rooms were filled with beautiful people in expensive clothes, all performing elaborate social dances around each other. Daniel's hand rested possessively on the small of Maya's back as they entered. Several heads turned, and she saw curiosity, calculation, and in some cases, jealousy in the eyes that tracked them. They're wondering who you are, Daniel murmured in her ear. Let them wonder, it makes you more interesting. A distinguished, older Korean man approached, his smile not reaching his eyes. Daniel, you didn't mention you were bringing someone. Chairman Park, this is Maya Richardson. Maya. Chairman Park owns half of the new development in Hudson Yards. Maya extended her hand. The sustainable one, I've read about it, impressive project. Park's expression shifted slightly, surprise, then assessment. You follow real estate development. I follow smart investment. Green building is the future. Anyone who doesn't see that is leaving money on the table. Park laughed, genuinely this time. She's sharp, Daniel, keep this one close. As Park moved away, Daniel's hand tightened slightly on her back. Nicely done. You just impressed one of the most skeptical men in the room. I wasn't lying. I do follow that stuff. I know, that's what made it perfect. He guided her toward the bar. See the man in the gray suit by the window? That's Kang, my head of security, the one I mentioned who would have handled you. Differently. Maya looked and immediately wished she hadn't. Kang was watching them with eyes like a predator assessing prey. When their gazes met, he didn't smile. He just nodded slowly, as if confirming something to himself. He's terrifying, Maya whispered. He's thorough, but he's also loyal. And right now, he's accepting that you're under my protection. That's all that matters. They spent the next hour circulating. Daniel introduced her to developers, investors, and several people whose actual professions seemed deliberately vague. Maya played her part, friendly but reserved, interested but not intrusive. And somewhere along the way, she realized she was actually enjoying herself. Daniel was an attentive partner, always aware of her comfort level, subtly steering conversations when they ventured into territory she couldn't navigate. His hand never left her, her back, her waist, once briefly threading their fingers together when a particularly aggressive businessman got too close. It felt real. That was the dangerous part. It felt like they actually were together, like this wasn't an arrangement but a genuine relationship. You're thinking too hard, Daniel said as they stepped onto a balcony for fresh air. The city spread out below them, lights glittering like scattered diamonds. I can see it in your face. I'm just processing. This world is nothing like mine. Does it frighten you? Yes, but not as much as it should. Daniel turned to face her fully, leaning against the railing. And what about me? Do I frighten you? Maya considered the question honestly. You should. Everything about this situation should terrify me, but instead... She trailed off, not ready to finish the thought. Instead I keep forgetting this is fake. The words hung between them, honest and dangerous. Daniel's expression shifted into something hungry, something barely controlled. Maya, he said, his voice low and rough, you need to understand something. The arrangement is real. The contract is real. The protection I'm offering is real. But this, he gestured between them, this stopped being fake the moment you walked into my home. Daniel, I told you I wouldn't initiate without consent. I'm a man of my word. But I need you to know that I want to. That every moment I spend with you, every time you smile or laugh or challenge someone twice your size with facts about sustainable development, I want to pull you close and claim you in every way that matters. Maya's breath caught. We have a contract. Fuck the contract. Contracts can be amended, rewritten. What I want to know is what you want, Maya, because I'll give you the full 4 weeks of professional distance if that's what you need. But if you want more... His hand came up, hovering near her face but not touching. If you want more, all you have to do is say so. Maya stood frozen, caught between fear and desire. This man was dangerous. This situation was insane. But God help her, she wanted to close the distance between them, wanted to feel his hands on her, wanted to know what it would be like to truly be his. Before she could answer, the balcony door opened. Yuna appeared, her expression urgent. Boss, we have a problem. Jung's here, and he's asking questions about Ms. Richardson. Daniel's entire demeanor changed instantly, from seductive to deadly in a heartbeat. What kind of questions? The kind that suggest he doesn't believe she's who we say she is. He wants proof. Daniel's jaw tightened. He looked at Maya and she saw genuine concern in his eyes. I need to handle this. Yuna will stay with you. What kind of proof? Maya asked, fear creeping back in. Daniel was quiet for a moment, then made a decision. He stepped close, his hand finally making contact, cupping her face gently. I'm sorry, he said softly, but we need to make this very convincing. Trust me. Before Maya could respond, Daniel kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was possessive, claiming, the kiss of a man marking his territory for everyone to see. And despite everything, the fear, the confusion, the absolute insanity of her situation, Maya found herself kissing him back, her hands fisting in his jacket, her body responding to his with an intensity that should have ashamed her. When he pulled back, his eyes were dark with desire. That should answer any questions, he said roughly. Then, louder, clearly for whoever might be listening, let's go back inside, darling. We can continue this at home. As they walked back into the party, Maya caught sight of a hard-looking man watching them with cold calculation. Jung, she assumed. She forced herself to smile, to lean into Daniel as if that kiss had been exactly what she wanted. But inside she was shaking, not from fear. From the realization that it had been exactly what she wanted. And that terrified her more than anything else in Daniel, Ryu's dangerous world.